Hi, I'm Dave Prather with a big shout out to Bridgewater International Poetry Festival. I have 3 poems here for you today. Journal Entry, Memorial Day. My sister and I never knew the dead. Every year those names repeated to try to make us remember. But without faces, without the sounds of their voices, we only knew them as stone markers, days and years before we were born. Too young to understand reverence, we were cautioned not to step on the graves. So we made respect a game, as though setting foot upon a plot was the same as jumping on our beds. We'd been told we could break our necks. And we knew this was true. We'd heard stories of a long-gone cousin who caught his foot in covers, lost his balance, snapped his spine against a wall. We'd never questioned the truth or considered the wisdom of God. We carried fake flowers to graves. We were even allowed to push those wire stems into hallowed ground. On some of the markers there were crosses, on others angels. Each cemetery was a chance for reunion. Friends and family gathered in the shade of a butternut tree while a hot breeze grabbed at shirt sleeves and pant legs. We made a game of this, too, trying to name the ghosts risen to get our attention. We gave them words, made them say things like, "The treasure is buried under the forsythia," or "Our fathers were never who we thought," or "Yes, heaven is more than we could ever dream." Even as we lay in our beds, our bodies so still, our breath so slow, it had to be checked throughout the night. Journal entry, Apocalypse. Hot air moves to find some comfort, a breeze that could cause a blaze. The first cicada of the season scrapes its ungodly voice like a flint in the water maple. I expect the top of the tree to burst into flames. As a teenager, it was my job to burn the trash in a 50-gallon metal drum, match to paper, flare to rubbish. I loved watching those fingers of fire reach up, demons trying to escape the bonds of hell. Cicadas had risen again, 17 years beneath the soil, a resurrection of sorts, a plague of noise and glassy wings. One flew into my sister's hair. Her panic stilled as I pinched those wings, carried that insect devil to the inferno and threw it in. I'm not proud of my cruelty. I used to catch leafhoppers and millers to throw into spiderwebs, watch their struggles as spiders tight-wire walked toward them. I've always thought spiders looked hungry, ravenous, never sated. Perhaps this is the source of my fear, the hunger of heights, the cravings of crowds, the appetite of night. The end of the world was so much farther away back then. I've heard the world will end in fire, the ravings of a Baptist preacher who only saw damnation for me, which I knew was true. If today is any indication, it must be true. Sunlight spilling itself at my feet and me just learning how to dance. And one more. After the deluge. Children of the backwoods, my sister and I had seen bones, hollow bones of songbirds, tender skeletons of deer scattered by scavengers. These were the victims we swore we would never become. Still young, we crossed the borders of our yard, the edges of the wild. A bridge marked the boundary of what we knew from what we didn't, and there in the stream below we found a skull, a pale empty form that once wore a long face. No other trace could we find, just this. Every instinct eroded. Every fear gone from those sharp contours settled among rocks, weeds woven throughout. It could have been a dinosaur, for all we knew. A creature that survived the millennia to find its end here where we could tell its story. But there was no body, no evidence there were ever ribs or lungs or legs. We reasoned it had washed downstream, this skull moved by flood, as though it could yet fill with thought, overflow, and we could go with it. Thank you.